In this month of Thanksgiving and gratitude, which I don't think should be a month, I think it should be the whole year, but we do have Thanksgiving in November, so we celebrate Thanksgiving and we celebrate gratitude. So we're exploring the way of the whole heart, wholehearted living, and what it means to live from that place of wholeheartedness. So the aspects of wholeheartedness came from many native cultures that believe that the heart is the bridge between Father Sky and Mother Earth. Like nice. For these traditions, the four chambers of the heart is the source of sustaining spiritual and emotional well-being. So we're talking about each one of those chambers today. And last week we spoke about, what did we speak about? We spoke about it being open, our heart being full, being clear, and being strong. And we're exploring each one of those aspects. So today is about being full, really having a full heart. So these traditions feel that it is important to check the condition of the four chambers of the heart daily. So today, you would do it like this. Today, am I open-hearted? Today, do I have a full heart? Today, do I have a clear heart? And today, do I have a strong heart? A strong, full, we're going to talk about full today, though. Full to overflowing. So this month, as we unpack the four aspects of wholeheartedness, each week we're taking an aspect of that. Now, last week we looked at the open heart, which is a heart that loves. It knows love itself. And then from that, it knows how to extend love. Extend love to all others, to be able to love and magnify itself. So today we're looking at that full heart, which is generous and which is fully engaged in the act of living. So here's what full-heartedness is. So as I began the topic for last week's lesson, I gave a story, and I'm going to do another story today that I've shared before, but it really fit in so well here. And this one is about a wise woman who was traveling in the mountains when she found a precious, extremely valuable stone in a stream. And the next day, she met another fellow traveler who was hungry. So as she reached into her bag to give him some food, he saw the stone, that precious stone, and he asked the woman to give him the stone, which she actually did. Very precious, rare stone. The traveler left rejoicing his good fortune because he knew that now he was secure for a lifetime. That's how much this gem was worth. And he thought, what a fool that woman was to give it away. A few days later, though, he came back to the woman and he said, I've been thinking. I know how valuable this stone is, but I want to give it back to you in the hope that you'll give me something different. What would that be, she asked, a little bit confused. And the traveler replied, I want whatever you have within you that enabled you to give away that precious stone. That generosity of heart, to just give from overflowing. And what she had within her was that full heart that we're talking about today. And like I said, not just a full heart, but one that's, we're giving from the overflow. I'm going to talk about that. So a true full-hearted living is having the heart that gives and engages in life from the overflow of the well, of the reserve within us. Like there's a well and a reserve within us, rather than from the well itself. So rather than taking from the well of our full-heartedness, we're taking from the overflow, so that we're always replenished. And think about this idea for a moment. It's very expansive, actually. We often speak about having our internal bucket full so that we can give to others, right? We're always talking about that. But I love the idea that we need to have an internal bucket or well or reserve, whatever you want to call it, to more than full. More than full. So that we need to have it to this overflow. And once you have the overflow, that's where you really, truly, that's full-hearted living. Giving from the overflow of life. We never drain our own reserve, never deplete our well. So let's do a quick check-in and see if anyone knows the experience of taking from their well to below full, to maybe a quarter of a tank, or maybe when it's empty, and then trying to give. Give of yourself, this is. Give of yourself. And what happens when we start to live half-heartedly? We start to show up then as physically tired, no energy, resentment, less than excited or passionate. We start to show up as uninspired, overworked, no creativity, no drive, all of these things, irritable, disappointed in people, in life, in ourselves, judgmental, critical. We start doing that half-hearted living. And we're talking about full-hearted living today. So, that's not the most joy-filled, God-driven way to live. Because we want to live from that place of abundance, an abundant heart. So the question this morning is, how do we fill our hearts to overflowing? Like, how do we do that? And there's lots of answers to that one question. But I want to answer it in one way this morning. And that is by being a true giver rather than a doer. I'm going to get into that. A true giver rather than a doer. There was a sign in the lobby I wanted to bring in. It really summed it all up. But there's a profound difference between doers and true givers. These concepts come from a book by Amanda Owens, The Power of Receiving. So I'm going to be quoting from her. And people who do, with quotation marks, are not energized or emotionally fulfilled by their interactions. And in our language this morning, they're dipping into their well. They're dipping into their wells of goodness and abundance within them. But those who give, truly give with an openness of connection, with a feeling of great gratitude, and they're fulfilling transactions. And in our language this morning, they're giving from the overflow of their wells within. Giving from that overflow. Doing for is an experience. This is interesting. This is from her book. Doing for is an experience of separation. Maybe we never thought about it that way. Giving to, on the other hand, is an experience of unity. Doing stems from a feeling of lack. Doing the way we're going to discuss it. While true giving comes from wholeness. It comes from complete wholeness. So let's think for a moment. What is doing? And why might we do it? And I said, just check in with yourself and find out if you're depleting your well. And these are some examples that she gives in her book. We are doing rather than giving if we have an internal or external expectation about how we should behave, what others think about us. And Amanda Owens talks about how our doing out of expectation has little bit to do with our authentic nature, the truth of who we are. Habitually putting other people's needs before our own. This is like, I'm going to get into something that sounds so much like codependency. Sounds a lot like codependency. And a lot of us live that way, and it's not really a way that benefits us or anyone else. So the second part is, or are you doing rather than giving if we are operating from an enabling paradigm? I know I may be touching on, some toes right now because people are brought up a certain way. And I think of Italian families, so you take care of the male, right? You take care of the male first. His needs always come first. This is the doing that I'm talking about. And she writes this: enabling behavior is when you habitually do something for people that are perfectly capable of doing it for themselves. You also are enabling when you do something that prevents people from experiencing the consequences of their action. It really fits in perfectly with the 12-step program. And here are some examples. A mother who constantly picks up the toys that her child has left all around, rather than teaching the child to pick it up and be responsible for themselves. A person who covers a co-worker's habitual lateness by doing the work for them so they don't get into trouble. Or a parent who, this is one that I think our group here, age group anyway, can relate to, or not. A parent who continually takes care of or financially takes care of an adult child. Time to let go and cut those strings. Time to do that. Never going to learn. Never going to learn. Someone who constantly loans money to a gambling addicted friend. Well, that would be totally codependent. And it's not giving to the overflow. You're doing all these things, but that you're not giving to your overflow. So you can't live wholeheartedly when you're always doing for others. Do for ourselves. So remember, doing depletes the well. So we are doing for another rather than giving to another when we expect something in return. If you're giving a gift, just give the gift. Do not expect anything. Don't even expect acknowledgement that they received the gift, especially from your adult children. But I mean, because you'll be waiting. What you wonder, did they get it? Especially if you mail it. Did they get it? Did they receive it? Well, I just actually did that. I did it recently because I did send this whole big thing to my daughter-in-law in Florida. Because her husband, no, it's going to be my son. Her father passed away, so I didn't know if they got it. And I kept waiting, like even a text to say, "Thank you, we got it." Well, I finally said, "Did you get what I sent?" And then they did, so I knew it. But I didn't really expect the gratitude, but this is adult children, and it's the doing part. Instead of giving and not expecting anything in return. Or we might do, which depletes rather than give, so we can play the martyr, which is not something I do, but maybe you're into being a martyr. You know, the, oh, woe is me, you know, the guilt thing. So, none of these things, doing for another because we have an internal or external expectation, or enabling another, or doing in expectation of something in return, or doing to look good. Not look good like look good dress-wise, because we all have to, you know, we don't have to, but I choose to, so maybe. But that's for me. That's not for other people, that's for me. So none of these, though, are true giving. None of those are true giving. And they deplete our hearts. So we wonder why we can't give from a full heart, or why our heart is full, or why our life is stagnant. Because what have we given truly to ourselves, and what are we giving from? So they deplete our heart rather than fill them, because they come from a place of separation, not unity. Lack, not wholeness. You're always trying to fulfill someone else's need is coming from lack. Fear, not love. Feelings of separation, lack, and fear are counterproductive to our spiritual truth. They're not the truth of who we are, and they deplete our wells. So the feeling of unity, wholeness, and love fills us to overflowing, because they are aligned with spiritual truth. So I'm just thinking, because they always give me great lessons. Again, I took my twin grandsons to a movie Friday night. And before we went there, one of them was already trying to cut a deal about getting a medium popcorn. Now I've agreed to buy movie popcorn, which I didn't do for years. And I said, well, you have your money. He goes, yeah, I have money, I can bring it. And he gets his wallet, and he's got money in his wallet. And the other one says, oh, well, I want to pay for my popcorn. He just wanted the one I was going to buy. And I said, well, go get your wallet. The mother tried to say, no, you know, my daughter-in-law said, no, that's okay, he doesn't have. I said, no, I want him to bring his wallet. And so as we're leaving, and I said, all right, give me, well, I didn't say it to Colin, I said it to Aiden, who wanted the medium popcorn. Let me have $4 towards the popcorn. And he was giving it to me, and then he said, no, I want it back. So he took it back and put it in his wallet. But Colin, who didn't ask for anything more, wanted to pay for something, and it was a lesson. In return, it was the first time he ever bought anything with his money. And I let him do that. He got up to the counter, and he's saying to the man, this is $20, okay? And he's giving it. He gets the popcorn, he gets his change. He was very excited. And then when we sat down in the movie, I told him, I gave him his $7 back. I put it in his wallet, and I said, I just want to congratulate you for having such a generous heart, because that's giving from generosity. He just wanted to pay for this out of the overflow. You see how that was abundant consciousness, and the other one has lack consciousness. Wait, take it away, I won't have any more. So that's how we kind of grow up in life. If you take it away, I won't have any more. When we know the universe is constantly giving. So that's the unity, that's the wholeness, that's giving from the overflow. True giving fills us because we are engaged in it. We are expressing the very powerful divine quality of generosity. I'm always learning stuff from just being with children and just observing them. Just observing them. It's great. I thought that really is generosity. So in the Glossary of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes defines grace as the divine givingness of God. And I love these words from Ernest Holmes when he says, the love of God is divine givingness, the eternal outpouring of spirit through its creation. We were born to give. We were born. It feels like so natural to give of our services, to help people, to give laughter, to give kindness, to give. I think it is a natural and healthy way for us to live our lives. And we feel so good that we were replenishing. And we continuously replenish the well to overflow. Eric Butterworth in Spiritual Economics wrote, God is the divine givingness of the universe, and you are created in the image and likeness of this divine givingness. You cannot make any sense out of life or realize the free flow of substance in your experience until you begin to see yourself as a giver. Someone that gives of your time. That's what the Prosperity Plus is all about. Time, talent, and treasure. To give freely and joyously. Not a doer, but a giver. So, what does it mean to express generosity? I just gave you an example, which I thought was a really good one. Wayne Dyer wrote this: generosity includes offering kindness, care, love, and nurturing where it is needed. Furthermore, the spirit of generosity can and does ultimately relate to how we treat ourselves. If you have a generous heart that has no qualms about giving, he writes, you will treat yourself lovingly and will nurture yourself without any feeling of guilt, which I don't understand. You know that you're worth taken care of. You're worth getting that massage. You're worth getting that facial. You're worth whatever it is that you really feel like you want to do for you. You're worth it. And that's giving from the overflow. That truly is. Not from the guilt thing. So, I just want to say that last line again from Butterworth. If you have a generous heart that has no qualms about giving, you will treat yourself lovingly and will nurture yourself without feeling any sense of guilt. I think that's really cool. I think that's beautiful. Don't you agree?
Yes.
Truly. So where is it that you need to treat yourself more lovingly? And it could be in criticizing ourselves. I know I do. I still do. I still have those little moments of, oh yeah, my belly really got big, you know? Why? Because I'm eating wonderful food. Because I'm living a glorious life. So what? But that old paradigm is still, there's traces of it still left and still need to work on. Our languaging of ourselves. So, if you have a generous heart that has no qualms about giving, then you will treat yourself with that love, with that knowing that you deserve all the good that you can possibly embody. You truly do. We do. All of us do. Well, where is it that we might need to treat ourselves a little more lovingly, to open our hearts even more, and not live half-hearted lives, live full-hearted lives? And I want to end this talk this morning with this quote from Lee McCarroll. It speaks to having a heart that's full to overflowing. So just take this one in. Whatever it may be that your soul and your heart needs, you might find it easily, eagerly, and gently, wondrously, and healthfully. May it open you up and make you a kinder, wiser, more wholehearted person. May it make the world around and within you brighter, sweeter, spacious, nurturing. May you have rest when you need, energy to do good, laughter like mountains, as tall as mountains, and tears like a spring rain. May you have a mind that opens readily and releases graciously. May your heart be full. So maybe this week we can really focus on this part of our body. It feels like it is, I don't think of it as an organ. I feel this is where the divine lives within me. That's where I feel it, in this heart chakra area. And how can I be kinder to people? Because then I feel better. How can I just maybe smile at someone and say, I'm having a fantastic day, when they ask, because that's what people do. How are you today? Fantastic! And then I'm giving from the overflow, and we spread it. So I'm inviting all of us to start living lives that are even more than full, but overflow. We want to live from the overflow.